Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Kenji NX. For those who may be unaware, Kenji NX is based on Ryujinx and just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Kenji X version 2.0.5 is the latest update. And for Kenji NX, I would say this is a pretty big update. There's a whole bunch of fixes, improvements, and brand new features. So as for new features, they've added in support for Hollow Knight Silksong, and they've also added in a brand new turbo mode. They say it adds a hotkey that, while held, toggles on a turbo mode, which should speed up any games that use delta time between frames for physics calculations. And they've added in GDB stub. Allows games to be debugged remotely, which is an effective method for creating cheats and mods. And speaking about forks of things, next up we're talking about Nintendo DS emulation with MelonDS Android, but a fork of MelonDS Android. And this one is by Sapphire Rhodonite. And for those who may be unaware, I think we talked about this one in a previous video when they added in dual screen support for this. Anyways, there's a brand new update here called MelonDS Android version 0.3.0. So they say here, this version upgrades the core to MelonDS 1.0, adds GBA Rumble Pack support, and includes major fixes and performance improvements from both upstream and Android-specific changes. And taking a look here, so for GBA Rumble Pack support, they say supported games now trigger vibration using your device's haptics. Perfect for games like Metroid Prime Pinball, Star Fox Command, and Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. And speaking about emulators and new releases, next up here we're talking about Atari Lynx emulation with Gearlynx. And Gearlynx has another brand new update. This emulator has been improving in leaps and bounds. So at the time of filming, Gearlynx version 0.0.6 is the latest update. And it is worth noting here that this is considered a pre-release, so there may be some bugs and issues with it. It's not expected to be stable and perfect. And it's still pretty early on in terms of overall development, so I wouldn't expect it to be perfect per se for a long while. Anyways here, taking a look at the changelog, and there appears to be a number of fixes and brand new improvements and emulation accuracy improvements. On top of that, it looks like they're working on some very interesting things like screen rotation and input rotation. Gearlynx is 100% free and open source, and if you're interested and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, link will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And speaking about free and open source, next up we're talking about Wine, which stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Wine is not an emulator, depending on how you wanted to interpret that. Anyways, Wine just got a brand new development build here that might be exciting to a couple of people based on one thing here. Fast synchronization support using NT-Sync. So at a very high level, and I'm curious to see how this is tested and what the results are, but it does appear that this may help out stuff like frame rate in certain games. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of bug fixes, 34 to be specific, that may impact a bunch of games in a very positive manner. For example, Need for Speed 3 installer that was previously failing, it may not fail now. Shadow Company, Overwatch, there's SimCity 2000 in here, there's Legacy of Kain Blood Omen, and even more. And speaking about new features, next up we're talking about Console Launcher, and Console Launcher just got dual screen support. Here's the announcement. Console Launcher now supports dual screens for the upcoming Thor and Pocket DS devices. So for those who may be unaware, Console Launcher is an Android launcher designed to make your phone look and feel like a handheld game console. Console Launcher prioritizes simplicity and a unified experience above all else. It is available on Google Play. So at the time of filming, version 2.0.0 Beta 2.3 is the latest update. And this is a beta, but at the same time here, there's more features than just dual screen. They've added the secondary display info screen with Retro Achievements integration. They've added autofocus for the first launchable in folders in the app drawer. They've made grid menu resolution responsive with percentage-based sizing. And they've added a new grid menu. And on top of that, there's improvements to the UI, and there's bug fixes, and even more here. And speaking about Google Play, next up we're talking about PlayStation 2 emulation on Android with ARM SX2. And ARM SX2 continues its march to the Google Play Store. Right now, they're currently in testing. So here is the latest and greatest from ARM SX2. Google Play testing is now underway. See you in 14 days. And on top of that, it seems that ARMSX2 will be open sourced this month on GitHub. I mean, the information's right here on their Discord. And I'll drop a link to their Discord in the description below in the event that you did want to learn more about this project. And speaking about emulation on Android, next up here we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on Android with Eden. And this is a really interesting post up on Reddit emulation on Android. Now, we talked about this one yesterday where someone had posted their Snapdragon 8 Elite with Zelda Breath of the Wild running at 30 frames per second. And it seems that more chips are benefiting from Eden. So this video up on Reddit emulation on Android shows Zelda Breath of the Wild running at about 22 to 25 frames per second without screen recording on a Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 without custom drivers. And at that kind of frame rate, I mean, I'm very impressed here considering I would say that's better than some desktop PCs running this stuff. And on top of that, taking a look at the comments here, and it seems that playing around with some settings may even improve performance further. This person says, try turning forced maximum clocks off instead of on, and turn on provoking vertex and descriptor indexing in Eden's Veil, and put the Eden emulator in the built-in GameSpace app available for Poco F7. I get mostly 30 FPS after the shaders are built in the same device. And this person says, I don't know what black magic that was, but that definitely improved performance. And speaking about performance and gaming on Android, next up here we're talking about Tomb Raider Definitive Edition on a MediaTek Dimensity 9400. And it's being reported that the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 is pumping out 70 FPS with high graphics. That's 1600 by 720 on GameHub version 5.1.0. It also appears they've got all of their settings posted in that video, and they say with screen recording the frame rate does drop to 45 to 60 FPS, which I can completely understand. Without it, it's 60 to 70 FPS. And there is an interesting sentence here. They say, back in the days, used to play this game on an NVIDIA GT 610 2 gigs at 1280 by 720 resolution with normal low graphics setting around 19 FPS. Wow, technology has improved. And speaking about frame rates, we're still talking about GameHub here and smartphones and games that were not designed for smartphones running on smartphones, like Red Dead Redemption 2. And someone is reporting that they finished Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Red Magic 8S Pro. It is arguably the greatest game of all time. Now, what's interesting about this is the frame rate apparently that they played the game with, which may be around 17 FPS. I mean, beating Red Dead Redemption 2 at 17 FPS, I would say is impressive. Would I classify the game as playable? No, not at that frame rate, but let me know your thoughts. And speaking about Red Dead Redemption 2, next up here, we're talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 and some big rumors. And there's a bunch of rumors swirling that there may be a Red Dead Redemption 2 enhanced version on the way. So there have been a number of people who have noticed that Rockstar Games have made changes to the Steam Store page description. And on top of that, someone pointed out here that since 2021, Rockstar Games has made yearly re-releases up until GTA 6 launch, but this year nothing. Rumors have been around for Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to Switch 2, PS5, and Xbox Series X versions. And I think that this is true. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and what would you expect out of a Red Dead Redemption 2 update or enhanced version? And speaking about stuff possibly on the way, next up we're talking about Silent Hill 2 and PS Plus Extra. If you've got PS Plus Extra, you might be excited to know that Silent Hill 2 is rumored to be heading to PS Plus Extra this month. Now, from my understanding, this leak is coming from Deal Labs, and this is translated from French to English, so the translation may not be 100% correct. But they are saying that it will be hitting the PlayStation Extra game catalog in October 2025, specifically from October 21st. And speaking about exciting stuff, next up we're talking about the Playdate handheld. And if you've got a Playdate, you might be excited to know that with version 3.0 of the OS, they're introducing folders. Now, I could be wrong about this one, but I don't think so. I think this is going to make the Playdate really interesting for a whole lot of people. If I'm not mistaken, this was one of the most requested features. If you've got a Playdate, let me know your thoughts about this update in the comments below. And if you don't have a Playdate, Would these new features interest you in possibly checking one out? Now, I personally think that the new game library app, the one-stop shop for downloading, organizing, and navigating games, is a very welcome sight. And speaking about welcome sites, next up we're talking about Marathon, and this may be a welcome site or may not be a welcome site depending on how you're looking at it. But Marathon development seems to be moving forward. The game still seems to be in very active development. In fact, they're having a brand new closed technical test from October 22nd to October 27th, with signups available on their website. Now, I'm not going to lie here. I am extremely interested to hear reports of the current state of the game based on testing and once people get their hands on it. I'm going to guess that there's going to be a bunch of NDAs that are signed, but I'm also going to guess there's probably going to be people who break those NDAs. We'll have to wait and see. Because they say here, this test is under NDA. Signups are from now until October 16th at 4 p.m. PT. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and let me know if you think that people are going to break the NDA to talk about this thing. And speaking about people possibly being disappointed about stuff, next up here we're talking about PlayStation The Concert. And if you had tickets, if you're interested in going, if you're just interested in the concert in general, you might be disappointed to know that 2025 tour dates have been canceled in North America. The full announcement's up on VGC, and I would recommend checking it out if you're interested in learning more. But they say here, it is with great regret that we have canceled the PlayStation The Concert 2025 tour dates in North America. Our team has spent a considerable amount of time developing this project, and we share in the disappointment of fans who will no longer be able to attend. We extend our heartfelt thanks to everyone who supported the show and appreciate your understanding in making this difficult decision. Now, unfortunately, I don't know the reasoning for the cancellation, but maybe it was a lack of attendance, maybe there were some logistical issues, I really don't know. If you had tickets and are now disappointed, let me know in the comments below. Next up, we're shifting from something no longer available to something newly available, and that is the Crysis Remastered trilogy over on GOG. So the trilogy is currently 65% off, and if I take a look on GOG and scroll down here, I can also see that the original Crysis is now in the preservation program. I don't know about you, but I would say this is a huge win for DMR-free games and also a huge win for the GOG preservation program. And the original Crysis is currently 75% off. And speaking about stuff arriving, next up we're talking about kind of the exact opposite and stuff being taken away. And we're talking about GameSnacks. So if you use Android Auto and like to play GameSnacks, you might be disappointed to know that Android Auto seems to be removing its GameSnacks collection. Feel free to check out 9to5Google for more information on the matter, but unfortunately at this point in time, we don't know the firm reasoning as to why GameSnacks may be going away. My guess is because of driver safety. Could be wrong. And speaking about stuff going away, last up here, we're talking about Monster Hunter Wilds. And it seems as if Monster Hunter Wilds' mixed overall review score may be going away very soon, considering the recent reviews are being marked as mostly negative. And there's a whole lot of them. Now, taking a look at some of these negative reviews, and it's not necessarily from people with like 1 hour into the game or 10 minutes and just strictly review bombing the game. These are significant hours invested. This person here has over 100 hours invested into the game and basically says the consistent failure to improve or even maintain the game's technical state suggests a deep-seated issue with development competence and project management. And this person here with over 130 hours says it's somewhat of a good game, but not the best Monster Hunter though. But man, it runs like, I'm going to guess there's a profanity in there. And this person says, game won't start. They've got 97 hours in the game. I have been leafing through these comments, and some people are calling the game soulless, and some people are really not happy with it, and a lot of people are talking about performance issues and technical issues. And this is, well, it's really, really surprising given the fact that I would say that this is Capcom's cash cow. A lot of their success depends on the success of Monster Hunter. Now, I don't know about you, but I am wondering here if there are some serious issues with the game that Capcom is recognizing but just struggling to fix. Or if they just flat out don't care. I mean, taking a look at SteamDB and Monster Hunter Wilds, in spite of its mostly negative recent review score, is still sitting in 13th in terms of the most played games. And in the last 24 hours, it's sitting at 17th in terms of the most played game. So who knows, maybe Capcom is rushing to improve the state of the game, or maybe they're looking at this and thinking the game is still successful, still making money, and there's no rush to fix anything. I really don't know the answer to that one, and I'm curious to find out. But even just taking a look at Monster Hunter Wilds in 17th place, I mean, stuff like Hollow Knight Silksong and Megabonk, well, Banana, that's something different, but and also Stardew Valley are beating it, and those games have significantly smaller teams. But I would be curious to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments below if you think Monster Hunter Wilds deserves its mostly negative review score, or do you think that this is a little bit harsh? And on a side note, if you haven't checked out Megabonk yet, this one may be worth taking a look at. I mean, we've talked about stuff like Hollow Knight Silksong and Stardew Valley, and I don't necessarily know if we've talked about Megabonk on this channel. This game was released September 18th to a very positive review score, and seems to be extremely well received and looks like it'll be a lot of fun. In terms of pricing in Canada right now, this game is priced at $13, so I'm assuming probably $10 in the States or maybe even cheaper. If you've played Megabonk, would you recommend it for people? Let me know in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.